All right, so we're going to switch over to KDE updates. Those of you that have heard me before, remember, I'm Dee Dee Connor. I'm the Division Director at School Data Services. I talk fast. So they give me a little bit of time to go through a lot of information. And if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A because we will get to them, but I'll probably get through the material first. So those of you that need to, go ahead and leave, get a chance to hear everything. So you can tell from the update topics, we got a lot of information to cover. And it's always good information. For some of you, some of it's new. Some of it is just a reminder to help us not forget things. And I don't know about you, but I need those reminders. So 25-26 active year. If you've not already changed, you can do it anytime you want. You just want to make sure that your frisky records are complete before changing any the active year. You can really mess up your frisky records if you change the active year and you roll in data. It can make your prior year data, you can lose some prior year data, and we don't want that to happen to you. So this is not applicable to what is visible in your portal, so don't worry about that. There is an end of year checklist that provides some additional information that you can link to also. The scope year change, and that's KDE controlled, it will change to 25-26 on July 23rd. So next week we'll change that. What that impacts is what syncs to State Edition. So before we do this scope year change, we try to sync as much data as we can so we don't end up with missing enrollments or missing students at the state level. But I'm not going to read it all to you, but if you look at it here, you can kind of see how it does impact the scope. Not scope, the sync, I should say. So state report submissions, we have updated the state reporting deadlines. I would just bookmark that, or, if you still use paper, print it off and put it on your desk, because that list is really there to help you. In Kentucky, we're very fortunate in the fact that we have a statewide student information system. So at the state level, we can pull your data. You don't have to pull it and send it up to us like some of the other states do, or have a nightly extract that comes to the state level. We're able to pull it for you, but we're very dependent on you. And we're, I think we make a good team in this approach. Is the data's got to be good by the time we pull it for federal reporting, school report card reporting. So we provide a lot of tools for you to help make sure the data is in good shape. So before these reporting deadlines, we do encourage you. It's not a one-person job. Think about who makes sense to look at different data, assign out. And if you look at this, and make sure the dates are known so that when we do pull the data, it's good data. Beginning of your checklist, I mentioned this beginning of your checklist here. It provides the activities that you need. If you're brand new, this is a wonderful document because you're like, what do I do next? But even if you're not brand new and you just do it once a year, it's a great resource to have and make sure you haven't forgotten anything. So just a reminder also, if the first day of school changed after students were rolled forward, please run the enrollment cleanup wizard. That'll make your life easier for reporting going forward. So keep that in mind if there's been any changes to your first day of school. Campus community authentication process, effective tomorrow. The campus ID will be needed to will be removed. So new access methods are through a district edition. For existing community users, you will click the link on the community landing page to request a one-time use login link, and a campus user email already has on file. There's no change to campus ID creation wizard for new users accessing community. Just a little bit of change, so expect that when you're using community. It always amazes us how many people don't know about campus community. There's a wealth of information, a lot of recorded trainings in there. So if you've never explored or you're not encouraging your folks to go out and look at campus community, make sure that is part of what you're communicating, because there's a lot of self-help resources out there that can maybe save you some time. So we always got to talk about data privacy. It's important to us. We want to make sure that folks are understanding the Federal Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA. I can say FERPA a whole lot easier than I can say the long name. But you need to be making sure that your annual disclosures are available on your district and school websites. Know what the definition of your directory information is. If your directory information doesn't include birth dates, for instance, it shouldn't be shared with anybody under the directory exception. What is your definition of officials exception? Who can have access to your data? Because what you don't want to do is be giving data to somebody or providing too much data and find out that it really wasn't covered under one of these exceptions. So the best thing to do is make sure you publicize those, be completely transparent, and communicate that to your staff so they're knowing what is directory and official exceptions. There are some trainings that I use. They're not KDE trainings, but they're resources. You've got new staff that are going to be touching data. It's always good to make sure they understand the importance of data security, privacy. This Ada Ethics course, this FERPA 101 course are both USDE references. So they're good ones. You get a certificate at the end of the completion of it, so you can kind of show these other, this 201 and PPRA are also good resources. And then I can't let a training like this go by and not mention the active user account access report. This is a great time of year. You've probably had people leave. You've probably had people change roles, meaning they're not doing what they did last year. Do they need the same level of access to Infinite Campus or to any system that they've had previously? Do they no longer need access? Those are things that if you run this report, it shows you who has access to the system, and you can kind of revisit that and make sure you're cleaning up your user access to it. Remember, all of us will have to work together to make sure that we're keeping the data in Infinite Campus as private as it could be. It's our data. It's Kentucky's data, Kentucky's children's data that grow up to be adults. So, as far as data sharing, keep in mind that if you're sharing data, first thing to do is to check with your local board attorney. It doesn't matter if it's what I just said on the last slide, which is about sharing directory information or sharing under the officials exception. Make sure that your understanding is consistent with your local board attorney. But when you're talking about sharing data through an automated API or through, with other vendors for other systems, make sure that you understand what is being shared. We've had some we've had some questions, I should say, come up to us and ask us about One Roster 1.2. It added the ability to include legal name. Now, we don't share legal name, and when the first legal name came out, that's kind of the way it's used in Infinite Campus, it's kind of your hidden identity. It's not shared, it's not what's on the screen or anything like that. So providing it to another system may not be what you want to do. I'm not saying it isn't. That's not me to say. I can't say that for you. But do check with your local board attorney if you should have that turned on or turned off. If a district,
when it first came out 1.2, it defaulted it on, and campus changed that after in the next release. But that's how we got all those. People probably don't realize it was turned on because it was just, you don't even have to open that little configuration box and see it. So.
Okay, so open the little big configuration box and make sure it doesn't show that if you don't think you intended it for that to happen. The other thing we're getting questions with Senate Bill 181 with the tracking communication. I know some of folks are looking at Parent Square. We've gotten some questions about the SQL query that a vendor provided them that provides a lot of very detailed information like legal name, the FRAM eligibility, 504 status, EL status. We can't say if you need that data to be shared or not, but we can say, talk about it internally. Make sure that's really what you intended. Just because a vendor gives you a query that includes that doesn't mean that's something that you want to share from your district to an outside vendor, especially if you don't have agreements in place that say what they can and cannot do with that data that's shared. So district and school contacts, all of you all, if you will help us, we would really appreciate it. Go out to the openhouse.education.ky.gov, click on the school and district directory there. We know this is a great time of year where people have retired. I get a lot of the notices, I've retired, so-and-so is taking my place. And make sure the new contacts are listed and your old contacts aren't still out there. The communications KDE sends out, we use those contact lists that you will provide to us to send out information. If you don't have the right contacts, you might not be getting the right information. We also use that to access systems like the school report card, the new portal that's going to be for the approval tool. It uses superintendent, principal, school report card, DACs, DPPs, a lot of those pre-default to have access. If they're not right, then they're not going to have the access they need. If somebody needs access and it's not listed there, work with your WAPOC to get those things cleaned up. So that as we open up school report card and we do our outreach to you for the 25-26 school year, the right people are getting the information. Infinite Campus invoices did go out. They were mailed directly to the districts. They always go out really early. We do that, so we ask Infinite Campus to do that, and they're a great partner. And the reason that we do that is that some people want to use old year money. Some people would rather wait till new year money. That gives you the option. Those of you that used old year money probably and paid, you've probably paid for Campus Learning online registration if you were still planning on using it. We're working with Infinite Campus and we're processing payments on our end, and there will be some refunds that will come out to you once all that is done. So don't worry, you will get your refunds. If you have questions, Lisa DeGaris is probably the best contact for starting to look in if you have questions about your invoices. I didn't get copies this year, so we don't have anything to provide to you. KEYS eligibility report. This is something that is a great tool for you all to use early in the school year, just to make sure your high school students aren't in a course schedule that would maybe keep them from getting a year of KEYS eligibility. There's certain requirements that you have to have a minimum number of credits. You can only have certain number of work-based courses. And if you don't meet those requirements, you don't have a year of eligibility for KEYS. So you don't want to keep a student from getting KEYS. So if you just run this will help you make the decisions of, okay, I've got everybody to where they're going to be KEYS eligible this year. There is a quick reference card linked here. They'll provide some more information on that report. Megan, well, I think Karen covered the lead vacancies and how to use the vacancy credits, so I'm going to skip over there. There is the information there, as well as some contact information. I said earlier that we would be getting you all some information on the moral instruction provider. I was hoping it was going to be linked in this document, but it's not. We do have a document that's ready to go at. I think it has all the approvals, and we were just able to verify that the new custom tool, and this custom tool is a new functionality within Campus that allows us to publish a custom tool that's going to write to the database. So we'll be able to pull information from it. So Senate Bill 19 requires us to report annually, and for districts to report quarterly, moral instruction providers. So as a moral instruction provider applies to your district to say, I want to be a moral instruction provider, put in Campus will meet the quarterly reporting requirement. We hope you do it more frequently. We hope you do it after the board meeting and then go ahead and get it in there versus trying to remember to do it quarterly. But once it's in there, you will designate who the moral instruction provider is, the date you receive the application, the begin date. If it's later ended, you'll end date the record. And if it's denied, you'll list a denied reason. We can get everything we need to meet the legislative requirements for reporting annually from that custom tool. So that is the information we're collecting. Jesse mentioned earlier today the new attendance code that goes along with this. It's an exempt attendance code. So a student can get up to 1 hour a week, and that includes travel time for moral instruction. So, but we will be getting something out to you. I guess it'll be coming out in a KSIS notification with a link to how to put those moral instruction providers into Infinite Campus. So preschool enrollment count. This is a lot of detail. There's quite a few slides on this, so I'm going to kind of refer you to the slides. But there was a revision to KRS 157.3175. Determine the district preschool program funding is based on the average number of preschool students served on December 1 and March 1st. The funding enrollment numbers are pulled from Infinite Campus report. It's the preschool enrollment count. It's essential that districts make sure that all eligible preschool students are enrolled accurately on or before each of these dates. So, this information kind of goes through the enrollment table, the primary enrollment, the student grade levels, the preschool service tabs that must be entered. There's an error report that is provided. There's a preschool QRC, which provides you additional information. QRC is short for quick reference card. So it will give you additional information on what you're looking for as far as an error report. Running that error report can really help you identify what the errors are so that you can go back in and fix them before these reporting dates. And do the continuous and preschool continuous assessments. This is starting the 25-26 school year. The preschool program is going to allow more than just the 5 previously approved assessments. You're still required to do a continuous assessment, and districts that choose an alternate assessment will select other in the drop-down menu, and they will input the name of the assessment in the fillable box. So paper pencil assessments are now allowable for the 25-26 school year. So make sure to report the chosen assessment in GMAP and on the preschool record. So the preschool outcome summary, process reminders. So when the child does enter and exit the preschool program, make sure to enter the ratings on the Infinite Campus Child Outcome Summary form. Students with IEPs have their ratings begin on the start date of the IEP and end when they're exiting the special education or preschool program. So again, preschool's Child Outcome Summary, which is COS, stands for data windows. The fall window is going to be September 1 to December 1. Winter is December 2nd to March 1st, and then spring window is April 1st to May 31st. So keep those dates in mind for reporting purposes. So we have updated the release schedule for the upcoming year. Kentucky typically takes the release the second Wednesday of the month. We make a few adjustments on that, especially when schools get ready to start, because we don't want to impact other things that you might be doing. There is some server maintenance schedule that's listed here that provides you some information if you've got jobs running at night so that you're aware of what could be impactful and try to plan around that. So the school report card, it's school report card time. The first part of the school report card will open next week. It's the school safety data. Hopefully the school safety data has already been looked at through the Safe Schools report, but it's time to start preparing for all the school report card. You know, first thing to do is really look at, make sure the data is verified. There's a quality assurance worksheet that provides a list of all the data that's reported in the school report card, what quality assurance reports are available in Infinite Campus or other tools that you can look at the data. And then we also got to make sure the right people have access. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the open house site and making sure that the right people are listed. We want to make sure that we've got the right people with school report card access. And every year we report the principals and superintendents. So if you have principals and superintendents that are changing, please make sure you update those in open house so that as we report those to the ANLAR for their school report card, we'll have the accurate names. And that is supposed to be the current superintendent. So even though they might not have been the superintendent or the principal in the 24-25 reporting year, they would still be listed if they're the current principal or superintendent, because it's regulations and laws read current versus prior. So the tentative timeline for school report card is July 21st. School safety opens. By mid-August, we're going to have the overview, which is a lot of your student data, program data, teacher data will be open. Educational opportunity, which is your advanced coursework, your gifted and talented data, your general education coursework. Those 2 domains will open up mid-August, along with the collector. The collector is where we get information that we don't collect otherwise from you, so that we can put it. Most of that data goes on the school profile reports. So there's a lot of data that gets collected for those. The collector will be open until September 19th. Mid-September, the career technical education and the transition to adult life domains will open, and there'll be a shorter review period. It's not as much data. There'll be a short review period before we open those domains. October 1st, the soft opening. So what I mean by soft opening is we're not going to really do a media press release or anything. We're going to get the data out there. We want to let the information we have available be populated to the normal schedule, but assessment and accountability data will lag the rest of the school report card data because we've got science standard setting this year. So that data will not be available probably till mid, maybe even late November before we actually make that public. School report card, there is a resources webpage. That's where the timeline is. It provides you reference guides, training videos, communications, some other resources. So please, if you're involved in the school report card, make sure that you bookmark that site and check that out, because we'll send out communications, but everything gets loaded to that one place. So it's kind of your go-to place for more information. So we talked about Social Security number diet. Lisa did a great job going over what we're doing already. We know that KIA requires it. We know that no pass, no drive requires Social Security number. We can't make changes to create, say no Social Security numbers, although we would like to. But this information is going to be something that we continue to promote districts to look at, think about, and remove unnecessary data. There is one more thing coming. With House Bill 241 requires KDE to publish virtual program non-resident enrollment cap. What that cap is, a 1% cap of the previous year's enrollment. That is the maximum non-resident 100% virtual students you can have statewide. So that has been published. If you click on that link, you'll find the site. So we're going to have to track, we want to improve our tracking of the virtual programs. So we're going to add an indicator to the enrollment tab, and we're getting mixed feedback on this, but we're trying to go with an Infinite Campus core solution so that that indicator becomes available in other reporting tools in Infinite Campus. So all 100% virtual enrollments will be reported. It doesn't matter if they're virtual, resident or non-resident, it doesn't matter. They'll be reported as one of these categories. There are some exceptions to the 1% cap. So these three bottom ones about sibling exception, armed forces, or medical condition exception. If you know you've got a non-resident student that has one of those exceptions, go ahead and just tag as that at the very beginning. What happens is once we hit 0.85% of that 1% cap, we have to stop, and districts can no longer enroll any more students in 100% virtual environment without checking with KDE first. That process for checking with KDE and the announcement and all that, that's outside my responsibilities. I don't know all the particulars of that. I'm sure that information is going to come out. But what we have to do first is making sure we're getting a good count of virtual students. We've already got the non-resident flag. Jesse went over that earlier today. So we'll use the combination of that for those calculations. So that information is going to be very important that it's accurate. It will be reported annually. So, and again, it's not a 1% cap at your district. It's a 1% cap statewide. That's why KDE has to track it. So user access, and we mentioned this earlier, and it's worth mentioning again. Beginning of year, verify people have the appropriate access, not more than they need, and use the active user account access usage report to make sure you don't have too many people having access to data they don't necessarily need any longer. All right, I went through it very quick. Over time, but I will take questions. Let me see if I've got any. Diana, will next week's IC update include the addition of, let's see, we get for OLR? I don't know. I will tell you all on the OLR stuff, KDE doesn't use that tool, so we're not necessarily experts on that. But Diana, I'll try to get more information for you. How about that? We'll see if we can get some more information for your question.
Well, and there's OLR release notes that are separate on the whole release notifications on Campus Community. So when you know what you're looking for, you may be able to find something there that we don't pull those out and report on them. So
yeah.
Scott asked about Classic Look going away. You're right, it's gone. With next Thursday, everybody will be on Big Look. It will be the only look. So
absolutely. Hopefully that was communicated well enough. I think we've been talking about that for years now, but as of next week, when we take that release, that's all we got. All right. Anybody else have a question? Nope, it doesn't look like it. Few minutes late here, but appreciate you all sticking with us, especially those of you stuck with us all day long. It's been a long day, but we feel like this information is important to get out, and appreciate your time so much. I know you have a lot of other things to do too, so take care. And I also want to thank everybody that helped put this together. I show up, we make it look easy, but a lot of hard work goes into this, and I appreciate all those that have contributed. So thanks so much. Take care. Have a great new school year.